Okay, everyone, welcome to the astrology forecast for the month of August. Now, I will say August seems, I say seems because I've said that before, and then the month ended up being super crazy. But the astrology for August does seem to calm down a little bit. There's actually like way fewer major transits happening. I know last month, July, there was like almost something almost every single day. But this month for August, we don't have as many transits, and the transits that we do have seem to be a little more mild. And again, seem to be because we never really know exactly, but overall, yeah, should be a calmer month. However, if there's anyone here who has a lot of cardinal energy in their charts, okay, so cardinal signs, Aries, Cancer, Libra, Capricorn, if you've got that energy in your chart, there is a lot happening this month with cardinal signs because we've got Venus just moved into Cancer. We're going to have Mars move into Libra in a couple days. And obviously, we've still got the Saturn and Neptune in Aries. So yeah, if you're a cardinal sign this month, you might feel more activated, or you might just be a little more busy, just more things going on for you. And then also, I will say too, if you have a lot of fire, okay, fire sign placements, so Aries, Sagittarius, Leo, or a lot of air placements, Gemini, Libra, and Aquarius, you guys too might just be feeling, yes, a big energy shift because we now have 4 of the outer planets, okay, all in fire or air signs, right? Neptune and Saturn in Aries, fire sign, Pluto and Uranus in air signs. So there's a lot of fire and air, and fire and air, those elements, they are more active, they are more outgoing, they are more energetic. So that's also why even, collectively, there's just kind of more outward energy happening. So just something to be aware of. But for some of us, that might feel really good to kind of have some more energy, some more movement in our lives. Other people, you might also be a little overwhelmed by it. But just know that's what's going on. And for the next few years, we are having this shift into more outward, extroverted, active energy with these outer planets moving. Okay, but getting to today, well, a little bit starting yesterday. Yesterday we had the exact square of Venus in Cancer, okay, making, yes, this 90-degree angle to Neptune and Saturn, still kind of lingering today. And squares are tension. So it can be energy that feels maybe really intense, or maybe you had a challenge yesterday, and most likely it would have to do with relationships, as Venus is our relationship planet. So the energy of this could be, maybe disagreements in relationships, or even confusion in relationships because we've got Neptune involved, maybe miscommunications, maybe even something where you felt deceived by another person. And this can be, romantic relationships, it can be business, it can be any close one-on-one dynamic you have with someone. Also, because it is Venus in Cancer, maybe some issues came up yesterday or going to come up today, maybe with a family member or something related to your home environment is possible. Also, just feeling more sensitive these next couple days too, because that Cancer energy is so sensitive, and Aries is kind of like likes to pick a fight, likes to kind of aggravate that sensitive energy. So if you feel like you're coming up against people who are aggravating you, yeah, that's probably why. Um, okay, good. So that's the main thing we have today. And then we're going to have, like I said, Mars move into Libra. And that is going to be, hold on one second. Where's my little map here? Okay, in a couple days, okay, on August 6th. This is when we are having Mars, oops, still right there at 29 Virgo. Let's move into, there we go. Well, it's actually later in the day on the 6th. Okay, here we go. So Mars is going to move into Libra, okay, for about 2 months, okay? So not quite 2 months, but now through, or August 6th through September 23rd, okay, through the end of September. Mars in Libra can be a little bit tricky because Mars is not comfortable in the sign of Libra. Libra is the opposite sign, right, of Mars's home, which is Aries. When Mars is in Aries, he's like, yeah, this is my energy. I like how this feels. But in Libra, he's got to like calm down. He's got to be more decisive. He's got to be a little more polite, which Mars doesn't always like to do. So for some people, this can feel like you have a harder time maybe making decisions or addressing conflict. It can sometimes be like passive aggressive energy where it's like, you know, you should say something, but you don't fully want to say something. So you might say something, you know, under your breath. It's kind of like that energy with Mars and Libra. But what Mars in Libra is good for, okay, it is good for, you know, for advocating for the things that we care about, advocating for things that we see as being unjust or not fair. So it is a good time to like look at the balance in your life. Where are things balanced? Where are they not? Where can things be a little bit more fair? Where can you, you know, stand up for yourself in certain areas of your life to create more harmony, to create more balance? And this can also be, you know, a time of learning how to compromise too. We might have to compromise more, even though maybe it's not the exact thing we want. We're probably going to have to collaborate and take other people's needs into account during this time as well. It's also, you know, can be good to, if anyone has any legal business that needs to be taken care of, Mars and Libra can be good for that. If you've got to, you know, file a lawsuit or, you know, do anything related to, you know, law or negotiations, it is a good time for that, for negotiating things of that nature. So with Mars going into Libra, it's also going to pretty quickly after, like a day in, 2 days in, okay, starting August 8th, okay, Mars will be directly opposing that Saturn and Neptune, okay, that we have in Aries. And at the same time, this energy is kind of interesting. We're also going to have Mars making a positive aspect, okay, a trine to Uranus, okay? So on one hand, Mars is getting a lot of support from Uranus. This is like very outgoing, active, dynamic energy where we might feel like we're able to get things done. We feel very motivated to connect with others, to socialize, to have conversations. But at the same time, we're also getting some pushback from Mars and Neptune. So it's kind of interesting. I wouldn't say like this is like a day like, ooh, be, you know, be really careful. This day could be weird. It's not that kind of energy. It's just things might either flow or they might have some setbacks because Uranus is kind of giving the flow, but Saturn and Neptune are kind of slowing things down. So it could go either way for people, or it could be feeling like, oh, the first part of my day was going really well and I had a lot of momentum, but then all the things I had to do in the afternoon sort of got stuck, or I had to change my plans, or things got delayed. So just kind of be prepared maybe for that push and pull, for maybe, you know, a mix of both of those energies. Because yeah, Saturn tends to slow things down when it's Mars, and Neptune can even like lower energy as well, where we might just feel like, you know what, I don't know why, but I'm starting to feel tired. Again, I had all this energy earlier from Uranus, but then I kind of felt like, oh, I just need to go take a nap with this Neptune energy. So yeah, the kind of conflicting energies on this day. So just something to be aware of. And also, it will not be an exact what we call, okay, a grand trine, which is where you can see Pluto is kind of involved too. Pluto's at 2 degrees with Mars at 1 degree and Uranus at 1 degree, okay, all in air signs. And you can even see this triangle, this blue triangle in the middle, okay, connecting these 3 planets. So they're all feeding off of each other, even though Mars will get to 2 degrees, you know, in a couple days. Uranus won't, but it's still, it does create a lot of energy between Mars, Pluto, and Uranus, which moving past the Saturn Neptune, so like, you know, around the 10th and 11th, we might feel more of that busy energy where it's like something in us, there's a lot of force, we have a lot of power, we have a lot of motivation, and it's air. This is all happening in air, so it's very intellectual. It's very much about learning things, sharing things, having conversations, initiating, you know, things like writing projects or, you know, just ideas where you're just getting things out, where you want to write, where you want to talk about things. And it's also, yeah, air too. Air is very social. So you might feel more social around the 10th and 11th of this month. You know, if you can plan ahead and know like, oh, next week, yeah, that's the day I was going to see my friends. Let me figure that out. Because this energy is going to be really great, actually, for connecting with other people, or like go to a networking event, go to a lecture reading, go to something where you're going to be around people, because you're probably going to meet some people who are either going to inspire you or motivate you in some way that's really positive. Okay, so again, that kind of lasts through the 11th, that what we call a grand trine between those 3 planets. Okay, and then sticking with the air theme, going back to, we're going to actually reverse a little bit, going to the full moon in Aquarius, okay, which is going to be at 17 degrees. Okay, so our full moon on August 9th, full moon in Aquarius, okay, moon in Aquarius, sun in Leo, but really highlighting that Aquarian energy, which is, again, it's about community, it's about connections, it's about ideas, it's also about the future, how we want to plan for the future, what we see our future looking like. It's a good time to focus on those things. And also, again, connecting with people. You know, the full moon in Aquarius is really great for, yeah, hosting a party or attending something where you're going to socialize, because you might meet some significant people if you are out socializing during this Aquarian full moon. It's also not a super emotional moon in terms of, you know, feeling more sensitive or anything like that, because Aquarian energy is more detached. And this is actually a really good moon to get some perspective outside of our emotions, okay? So if there's, you know, a big decision you've been weighing, this full moon is a good moon to like really think about that decision, because you're going to have the clarity, okay? You're going to have the clarity of just like, what are the facts? What is the information I'm dealing with? What am I looking at? Where you're not going to feel as swayed by other people's opinions or, you know, or strong emotional feelings getting involved. Now with full moons, right, they're also about endings or, right, like a climax, like the grand finale of something. letting go, release. Okay, so for some people, Aquarius moons, yeah, can bring release of a friendship. Okay, a release of, maybe it's a community that you've outgrown, or a group that you've outgrown, or a club that you've outgrown, or just a friendship you've outgrown. That can sometimes be a theme with Aquarius. Also, Aquarius energy is very unpredictable and it can be very sudden. So for some people, literally, yes, a sudden change could happen around this full moon, or something like you never saw coming comes and you've got to adapt very quickly to whatever that change is. It's the moon too, where I always just say, expect the unexpected, because it's almost like you can't even predict anything about Aquarian energy. So I even wrote in the newsletter, I was like, this day could be like one of the craziest days of your life, or absolutely nothing could happen, or it could be the most boring day you've ever had, because it's Aquarius. It can be who knows what. We can't really pinpoint it. But yes, if you are someone who has any placements in the fixed signs, okay, around 15 to 19 degrees, okay, so planets in Taurus, Leo, Scorpio, Aquarius, you're going to feel the energy of this moon the most, okay? It's going to be most impactful for you. And also, as I always say, you can look to the house that Aquarius rules in your own personal natal chart. What house is that for you? Because that could also give a clue about something that could come up suddenly, something unpredictable, or some kind of release, okay, having to do with whatever that house is. Okay, and moving on, we're going to go back to the 11th, okay, which we already talked about that trine, but also the 11th, we have Mercury station direct. Yay, Mercury is going to not be retrograde anymore around August 11th. Good news. So those projects you've been holding back on the last few weeks, this is the time when you can start to put those things back in motion. This is when you are free to, negotiate those contracts, look at those purchases, make those more important decisions. Now is when we have flow with those sorts of things. And also our communication is going to go back to normal. We're not as likely to have those miscommunications, those technical problems, those transportation delays that are all common, right, with our Mercury and Leo. We've already had a few significant Mercury retrograde stories in the news. The first one was, it was literally the first day, like about a week or so ago, the first day of Mercury retrograde, all of Alaska Airlines, their whole IT system shut down and they had to ground a bunch of planes. Pretty on the nose for Mercury retrograde, because we always say, yeah, travel is an issue, technology is an issue, things getting stuck. So we had that. And then a couple days ago, there's a beverage company that accidentally, they put the wrong label on drinks that they make. So it was like cans of vodka, but the label said that it was just an energy drink. So that's a pretty big Mercury retrograde mishap, screw up. And then another good one, though, was we had the release or the announcement of Stevie Nicks and Lindsey Buckingham re-releasing their original album, or doing what they call a reissue of the album they recorded before Fleetwood Mac, before all that. Which again, retrogrades, rewords, release, reissue, and something from the past that they are now going to share with the world again. And obviously Leo, right, the sign of entertainment, performers, fame. So that was a good example. Okay, so that's the good news. Mercury goes direct. Then this is actually a nice little chunk of time, because then the following day, okay, on August 12th, we have this lovely conjunction of Jupiter and Venus in Cancer. Okay, why is this so nice? Well, for one, Venus does very well in Cancer. It's not her home sign, but it's a sign, that relates to her feelings for compassion and love and caring about people. And Jupiter, also Cancer is not its home sign, but it is its sign of exaltation. Okay, so it's a sign that Jupiter does do very well in as well. And these are both what we call benefic planets, okay, meaning they are overall, they're beneficial, they're positive, right? Jupiter, joy, expansion, opportunities, protection, generosity. Venus, right? Love, beauty, relationships. Also even, yeah, like finances, our values, our self-worth. Okay, so these two planets coming together is just like an expansion of love, generosity, kindness, compassion, sensitivity, right? So like this is also, it's Cancer, if you do something with a family member this day, that would probably be a really nice experience because this energy is so supportive. This is also very healing energy. If anyone needs healing for something, take some time on this day to give yourself forgiveness or to forgive someone else, those sorts of intentions. Really nice with this energy. Also too, if like you want to buy something nice for your house, this is nice too with the Cancer. Cancer literally rules our living spaces. So you might be like, you know what? Yeah, I do want to buy that new chair or those new dishes or, whatever it is, something you've been wanting to get that's nice for your house, a new painting, a new piece of artwork, or even just, getting a nice bouquet of flowers, really nice for this day. Also just nice for relationships in general too. So spending time with people on this day is going to feel like very, very meaningful. And we only get, okay, this alignment, we only get this, we're going to get it once this year and once next year, and then we're not going to have it again for 12 years. So highlight, I would try and do something nice on this day if you can, August 12th. Okay, and then on the 15th, okay, the 15th, we're going to have our quarter moon, okay, moon in Taurus, sun in Leo. And remember, our quarter moons, there's tension, okay? It's two signs that kind of butt heads with each other. So we have Taurus versus Leo, and they are both what we call the fixed signs, okay? So they're both very stubborn. So this day you might have some encounters with someone where it's like you don't want to change your mind, the other person doesn't want to change their mind. So you might have a tougher time getting movement on things that need a compromise because it's very, like I said, fixed. It's very stuck. Nobody wants to budge with this energy. And with the moon in Taurus, this is like a part of us like wanting to take our time. I don't want to be rushed. I just want to like move at my own pace today. But the sun in Leo, that fire energy is like, you don't have time to go slow. We've got to get this done because you're needed. People, need things from you. You've got to get it done quicker. So that can kind of be the tension, okay, with this quarter moon. All right. And then we just have the sun is going to go into Virgo on the 22nd. Okay, almost. There we go. Okay. So on the 22nd in the afternoon, the sun is going to ingress into Virgo. Welcome Virgo season. Okay, so this will be for 4 weeks. We will have the sun in Virgo, which is about, for one, it's about the harvest. What are we harvesting in our lives? What have we been tending to? And yeah, literally or figuratively, it can be a literal thing you've been tending to, or maybe it's a goal or a project, a passion project, right? But now is kind of time to check in with those things. How are they doing? Do they need more support? Do they need, just more time put into them? And Virgo too, right? It's very efficient energy. So this is why, Virgo season, it's a good time to like do a deep cleaning, like in your house, because Virgo loves to cleanse and purify and declutter and organize. Okay, so this is a great time to like, yeah, maybe we're starting to put away the summer stuff. We're starting to get our homes ready for fall, for winter, right? Those kinds of things. Yeah, and again, it's very efficient energy. So any projects that need, a lot of attention to detail, efficiency, organization, really good to work on those things, of course, during Virgo season. Virgo 2 is the servant. Okay, meaning it's the sign of service, of helping others. Okay, so this is a good time to, kind of think about where can I be helping more? Or how can I offer my services? How can I offer my skills to other people so that it helps them? Is there, something I really want to volunteer for and help out? Virgo season, obviously, too. Yes, very good for that. Also, good time to check in with our health, okay? With our diet, our nutrition, our daily habits, okay? Because Virgo is also the sign of health and how we take care of our physical bodies, okay? So good time to be checking in with that as well. All right, so later on this day, and we're kind of in this new cycle where the new moon is lining up exactly when we have the start of a new season, because these new moons are happening at very early degrees right now. So like I'm saying, this new moon in Virgo is going to be at 0 degrees Virgo. Okay, so later on the same day, on August 22nd. But of course, if you're on the East Coast, it's going to be on the 23rd. But this is our new moon in Virgo, right at 0 degrees, very powerful, right? Because we know 0 is the like brand new start of this energy, of this Virgo energy. And new moons, also fresh starts, also new beginnings. Okay, so this is a really powerful moon actually for setting intentions. New moons are always good for setting intentions, but this one's definitely got some more power behind it being at the 0 degree. And Virgo energy, as I already said, right, it's very meticulous. It's very detail oriented. So the more specific you can be with your intentions, the better. This means like if you want to be calling in, I don't know, a new apartment, get really specific. What does that apartment look like? Does it have a lot of windows? What do the floors look like? How many bedrooms does it have? What does the refrigerator look like? What color are the walls? Like you like be as specific as you can about the thing you want to manifest or, call into your life, whether it's a person, a thing, a certain amount of money, okay, whatever it is, be super specific and, write it all out, okay? If you want to set those intentions, you can also speak it out loud as well. And again, new moon in Virgo, get rid of stuff. It's so good for cleansing, for doing a deep clean, for purifying, okay? Get rid of the things that, aren't serving you, because anything that's just taking up space that you're not using is draining your energy and it's blocking new things from coming into your life when you're holding on to it, but it's not serving any purpose, okay? So doing a deep clean around this time, also really positive and good to do. Also, if you really specifically want to work with Virgo, set intentions having to do with your health or your daily routines or even work goals that you have. If there's any, like if you want to get a new job or doing a different kind of work, this is a great time to like write your new resume, send out your new resume, those kinds of things. Because Virgo, yes, is also connected to the work that we do on a daily basis. And again, where is 0, 0 Virgo in your chart? What house does Virgo fall in your chart? Because whatever that house is, you can set specific intentions for that house. Okay, moving on to the 24th. Okay, on the 24th, we have, this is the only like big transit of the month that I might be like, yeah, this day could be a little weird. Actually, wait, that's not true. We have one more after this one. But the 24th, we have the sun in Virgo square Uranus in Gemini. Okay, so again, 90-degree angle, tension between the sun and Uranus. Okay, so Uranus, when its buttons are being pushed, can be kind of chaotic, disruptive, chaotic, a sense of instability. So this is a day, yeah, I would keep your schedule open if you can, or don't be surprised if something comes up, if your plans get upended somehow and you've got to rearrange things. Because this can just be disruptive, like just something annoying that you have to deal with that comes up. Also, Uranus can also just kind of create like strange things that are just kind of strange. Like you might come home from work and, there's a bunch of beetles in your kitchen, like something like just really random, bizarre like that. And you've got to figure out, I got to get rid of these beetles. Hopefully nothing like that happens to anyone. But that's just an example. And then it's Gemini versus Virgo. Okay, these signs are both ruled by Mercury. They're both very mental. So this is a day too where we might overthink things, we might overanalyze things, we might feel like more anxious, more nervous about things because there's just like a lot of mental energy happening. And Mercury too, these signs ruled by Mercury. Mercury, yes, rules our nervous system. So that's why we might also feel a little more on edge during this time. And then we're going to have Venus, here we go. On the 25th, Venus will ingress into Leo, okay? She's leaving Cancer, she's going into Leo, which is like, she's the queen. This is big queen energy. Venus is where she's got her crown, she's got her cape, she's going to do whatever she wants to do, and no one's going to stop her. So all of us can also take on that energy. Venus in Leo doesn't apologize for who she is. She doesn't have a problem being bold, being herself, owning her identity, expression, self-expression, really important to tap into when Venus is in Leo. Wear that outfit that makes you feel really good about yourself and don't care about, wonder if people stare at me, wonder if this is that. Who cares? You like it and you feel good wearing it, so just wear it. That's Venus in Leo. Okay, Venus in Leo too is very romantic. Leo loves generosity and grand gestures. Okay, and just like having fun. This is like going out dancing, going to your favorite restaurant, wearing your favorite jewelry, like doing all the things, buying yourself flowers. Okay, that's really good energy to use too. And also for anyone in relationships, yeah, like plan some things that are more romantic, have a nice dinner date, or maybe you go to dinner and a show or dinner and dancing or something you don't normally do because it seems extravagant. Do it when Venus is in Leo. I promise it will not disappoint you. You're going to be like, wow, this was one of the funnest nights I've had in a long time. Also, Venus in Leo too, just good for, going to concerts, going to the theater, going to shows, taking in, entertainment that brings you joy, that brings you pleasure. And this is going to be Venus in Leo through September 20th. Okay, so about a month of Venus in Leo. Okay, and this too, it's like kind of like, the bombshell, kind of bombshell energy, okay, that we can all tap into. Not being afraid to just be our big, big, beautiful, expressive selves. Okay, and then this might be happening. Okay, so then on the 26th, well, actually, hold on. The 25th as well, right when Venus goes into Leo, she's also going to make a trine to Saturn. Okay, and Neptune, not exact, but she will the next day. So this trine to Saturn and Neptune in Aries, okay? And that trine, very supportive, okay? So Saturn and Neptune helping that Venus energy. So this gives us some grounding in relationships. Maybe this is where for some people you get a more serious commitment from someone or something, thanks to that Saturn kind of stepping in. Really good for starting some kind of creative project because Saturn is going to give you that discipline to see it through, that endurance. And then the Neptune part is just very kind of adds more of that romantic energy. Because Neptune is kind of the higher octave of Venus in a way. They do have a lot of things in common. They both love and romance. Okay, so this is also like very dreamy energy, just feeling like the world looks like a more beautiful place today. So let's take advantage of that energy while we have it. Because, and now I have to go, whoopsies, sorry everyone, because then on the 26th, we're going to have this Venus-Pluto opposition, okay? Oppositions, kind of like the square, also tension, okay? Tension between two planets. They've got some things to work out. And generally, I'm not a fan of Pluto-Venus alignments because they do seem to create sometimes, kind of dangerous energy, or there's just something a little dark about it. And especially when it has to do with women, with females. Because this is like Pluto oppositions are more the intense side of Pluto. The darker side of Pluto, the more destructive, possessive, manipulative, jealous, okay, side of Pluto. So that kind of comes out around the 26th. And can, yes, affect women in some way, for our relationships. This could be getting into a power struggle with someone, or being manipulated by someone, feeling dominated by someone. So yeah, that's the only thing with Pluto Venus, and why I think they can be tough for relationships and sometimes for women specifically, excuse me. They can just kind of create some drama, okay, some intense energy. And then we have the very end of the month. See, this went by so fast because there's just not as much happening in August that we have to go over, because then we just have the end of the month, the 30th and 31st, which is just going to be another quarter moon. And we actually had 3 quarter moons this month. We had one on the 1st yesterday, we had one in the middle of the month, and we have one at the end of the month. That is a little more rare. Usually we only have 2 quarter moons in a month. In August, we have 3. So this last one is going to be the moon in Sagittarius and the sun in Virgo. So again, that tension a little bit at the end of the month. Sagittarius versus Virgo, okay? This moon energy makes us want to like blow off the day, just go have fun, go have an adventure, enjoy things, put off work. But that Virgo sun is like, what do you mean? You still have this huge to-do list that you need to get done. So that's kind of the conflict, is wanting to just go do something fun and then having responsibilities, having work that needs to get done. So that day, we just kind of want to try and balance that energy as best we can. Maybe, right, we get all of our work done and then we go do the fun thing. Or we do the fun thing earlier in the day, then we come home and we finish getting the work done. Just finding that balance. Okay, everyone, do we have any questions? Annette, is that you? Did you want to ask something? No, okay. Everybody's good. Okay, well, if everyone is feeling good and doesn't have questions. But yeah, I would say I think the nicest day is the 12th. Okay, August 12th, that Jupiter, Venus in Cancer, just so great. And also too, doing something with women on that day would be really nice as well. And if you've got strong water placements, right? Cancer, Pisces, Scorpio in your chart, that energy is going to feel extra nice as well.
Sounds like a good month. Thank you.
Yes, you're so welcome. Thank you everyone for attending, and hopefully I will see you next month.
Thank you, Tara.
Thank you.